is the Saturday, the 4th of September 2021, and really today is my Sabbath, Saturday being the 7th day of the week. Today is my Sabbath. On very few occasions I can enjoy my Sabbath. Why do I call it a Saturday Sabbath? Because tomorrow I'm not preaching, God willing. I'm always on standby, but I think the deacon that has been scheduled to preach is available to preach. And this week is kind of more relaxed for me because next Wednesday I don't have the Bible study. But I get busy 2 or 3 weeks and then I rest for a week, which is a good thing really for me, because even preparing sermons, if you preach for the 3rd consecutive week, it is really tiring. It's really taxing, not just physically, because you stand there for 50 minutes or more, you lead prayers and so on. Last time we can have others leading prayers, but now because of the MCO, basically sometimes even the song leader, the person will be the MC, opening prayers and the announcements and so on, and then the preacher will preach and then lead the intercessory prayers. So only 2 people stand up. On occasions there are different MCs and worship leaders. That's fine if they're keen. So I read from the Jerusalem Bible. I really like Jerusalem Bible because it translates the tetragram, the 4 sacred alphabets that make up the word Yahweh, the name of God. So Jerusalem Bible consistently translates the Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey, Yahweh, consistently translates these 4 alphabets as Yahweh, which is good because it appears 6,800 times in the Old Testament. And when you say the Lord is God, which really doesn't mean much, because the Lord can be anyone, but oftentimes it's actually Yahweh is God, Yahweh is God. So we understand the import or the intention of the author when they say Yahweh is God. So I read quite a few Psalms. In Psalms you have the psalmist or David addressing the Lord or God as Yahweh most of the times. So that personal name is used constantly. And also I read Jeremiah from chapter 10, I think, or 9, all the way to chapter 17, a passage which I preached from last last week. And yeah, he consistently cries out to Yahweh. So Jerusalem Bible is a good Bible, so I encourage you to buy, because then you know exactly what the word, because sometimes even capital letter, your mind thinks it's just Lord. And I guess the final version of the Septuagint Greek translate Yahweh as Kyrios or Kurios, which translate as Lord. But even that, there's some scholarly debate. For example, in a few months ago, I think in March or middle of March, I mentioned it in my preaching, they discovered a text near the Dead Sea, near the caves of Qumran. It's dated 2nd century text, maybe during the Jewish revolt against the Romans, a 2nd century text, but it was written in Greek, only 2 verses, maybe even not complete verses, from Nahum and Zephaniah. And the name of God, because it's written in Greek, but the name of God, Yahweh, is written in Hebrew, the 4 sacred letters. So that's also amazing in the sense that even in Greek texts, they did not translate that as Kyrios or Kurios, which the final edition of Septuagint, the Greek Old Testament, has. But this very early text, 2nd century, maybe 100 years after the birth of the church, found in Israel near the Qumran caves, written in Greek, but when it comes to the name of God, it is not Kurios, but it is Yahweh, written in the 4 Hebrew alphabets, Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey, Yahweh. And really recently, just last night in fact, a month or 2 ago, a tourist found out in her pilgrimage to Jerusalem and in the Eastern Gate or Golden Gate, the East Gate, old city of Jerusalem, has been closed for 1,000 years. And when I saw several videos, it's quite amazing because there's so many graves, so many tombstones and graves just at the bottom of the Eastern Gate. I thought, the graveyard is actually across the valley, Mount Olive, just on the eastern slope. There's this Mount Olive where Jesus ascended to heaven. And Zechariah 14 says that he will come again and stand, his feet shall stand on Mount Olive. But coming back to this Eastern Gate, and this tourist discovered that the first 3 letters of Yahweh, Yod, Hey and Vav, were written. And these are plants growing. So these plants growing at the side of the wall are shaped as Yod, Hey and Vav. And it's clearly evident, maybe even 100 feet away. So that's quite remarkable. But obviously then one can ask why isn't the 4th letter, and one commentator says that maybe in the near future the plants will grow and the last letter of Hey will also come to be seen or appear on the wall at the Eastern Gate. And that's quite remarkable. I mean, we should be careful not to simply interpret signs or physical manifestations, but God can speak through many ways, even plants or bushes. that are shaped like the Hebrew alphabets of the 4-letter word, personal name of God, Yahweh. That's quite amazing. So I do encourage you to buy at least one Bible that has translate this. I have Tree of Life version. They don't use Yahweh, but they use Adonai. I mean, it is a good. I think most of the scholars that translated this version are Jewish scholars. It is a good translation, very Hebraic in the way that it is. But then I also don't quite like that it is Adonai. You know, they change it to Adonai, which is another word really in Psalm 110. Yahweh says to Adonai, says to my Lord. No? Yahweh says to my Lord. The my Lord here referring to the Christ of David. That's the Davidic Psalm. So basically David, through his prophetic gift, he foresaw the coming of the Messiah, that Yahweh speaking to the Messiah or anointed one, which King David, called as Adonai, or my Lord. Thank you for watching. That's my sharing for today about my Sabbath on the Saturday. It's a relaxing day for me, and also the use of the name of God, Yahweh, and the Bible versions that have this word. I encourage you to buy at least a copy of the Jerusalem Bible or the New Jerusalem Bible. So God bless you. Have a blessed weekend. Amen.